Hey guys, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel. And it's very funny that The Sims actually loaded this in front of its younger cousin to the right of us there. This is the T6 Texan from the Reno expansion pack in The Sim. Now, you do need that for this to work. You can't just have just the class itself. Now, it works with the native T6 in 2024, but for 2020 it does require that pack. Now, this is a free mod. This is created by Randall Snow. It's available on flightsim.to. There is a link in the description. Same for the airport here, which is by Cat3 Duel. This is Bacon in Georgia. I had to download it because it was called Bacon. Bacon County Airport, and I do love bacon. So, we're going to check this out today. And this is a dramatic improvement mod for the T6 Texan, which gives us some really cool features, and we'll go over those now. Now, it's not just a simple glow up in terms of textures, because there's not much of that, but there's some big improvements otherwise. Now, it's been done in conjunction with real-world pilots for Texans, and it gives us a much, much more valuable aircraft to our sim experience in both Sims 20 and 24. So, we've got the dome spinner modelled and selectable at a cockpit switch over there. Same with the gear doors. Canopy functions now. Engine sounds are tweaked. There's a primer logic has been actually added now, realistically, to actually make it work properly. And also be based on air temperature as well. Engine and airframe vibrations resonating through the instruments, canopy and pedals. Functional rear cockpit with new camera definitions. We've got revamped flight model. We have updated ground physics based on a real T6 pilot. New starter logic to allow the real procedure to work. There's pilot avatar visibility in 2020. Obviously, it's already there in 24. Correct rudder trim functions, nav lights, and flap logic. Now, there's some major to-dos as well on that list as well. Not yet available, but planned are engine damage modelling and performance, rough starts and failures. So this will make this a really cool airplane. A new prop physics system is going to be added. New fuel system rewrite for accurate rear reserve tank standpipe behaviour. And flap system rewrite for true to life functions. So those are all coming. There's not a ton of 2024 T6 liveries available, so we're using a stock one. We're going to hop on board here and take a look at this old girl, shall we? And like I said, very similar in the cockpit there. We can open the canopy now, which I think makes a big difference, to be honest. So this is our Texan cockpit. Everything we see in here is normally in the aircraft, so it's a matter of making this work, which means we're going to use our checklist to get it started. We'll talk about the Texan itself once we're flying, but for the time being, I figured you guys just want to fly, right? So let's get ourselves up in the air and we'll talk more. So control locks are off. It just looks like it's there, but it's actually not enabled. Mags are set to off. They are. Gear handle is set to down. It is now. Rear cockpit is secured and required. Control locks release stowed. Fuel sector is on. That's down here. And we are set to there. That's our reserve. And there's right. So left and right. Sorted. Fuel handle is neutral. Flap handle's neutral. Sorry, that's the flap handle here. So it should be. Yeah, it's in the middle of the position there because it goes left and right. So that is neutral as it should be. Oh, God. Okay. Leverage trim is 10 o'clock, so we'll move that down to 10 o'clock. There we go. And rudder trim goes to 2 o'clock. Sorted. Now we're going to go to prop full aft, so crack that. Full back on the prop, full lean on that, full rich, sorry. Throttle cracked, car bears direct. It is on direct right now. Oil shutters to open. Max off. Altimeters at fuel elevation. It is. Battery off, generator off, manifold pressure noted. Manifold pressures at 10. Brakes check and hold, they are. Wobble pump 3 to 5 psi. Starting, we'll then go to priming 3 to 5 on cold, 1 on warm, so we'll do a quick single prime. Battery on. So we'll do this now, okay? So our fuel pressure's over there. And then we do starter. I'll talk you through what I've done after I've done it. So One pump on there. So we're going to go 4 blades on the starter. Do we still have fuel pressure? We don't. We'll have to do that again. One, two, three, 4. Max to both. It's not bitten this time. We'll do it again. One, two, three, 4. Max to both. Give it a squidge. Does it want to go? Okay, this is fine. This is fine. These things do happen, and we're going to make sure we deal with it as best we can. Which is what I mean about being more realistic, is this actually has to do it properly for it to function. Okay, so once again. 1, 2, 3, 4. To both. Boom! And she starts. It feels so much more worthwhile when the aircraft actually works through itself like this. Okay. There we go. Transponder's good. And we're ready to rock. Whew. Okay. Controls are free and clear. Rock and roll. Heads enabled here. Texan over there. Now, before we go anywhere, whilst this warms up, in fact, which we're going to crack that for us. Oh, the engine sounds nice. This is Bacon County. Why there's an F-18 there, I'm not quite sure. This is what I hate about the AI spawning. Some cool hangars and positions around here. Redone taxiways and surfaces. Got the approach road, the entrance to the airport here, and all this stuff. It's simple, it's a small little airport, but it's a nice little GA field out here in Georgia. Adds some immersion. God, that sounds fun. With Microprose's B-17 on the near horizon, I want to fly me some American radial fun stuff. So we've got a bit of a little flight today. We're going to head down towards it, so... taxi ourselves out here. Get ourselves moving. Now, of course, being a tail dragger can be a little bit hard to see, so we're going to crane our neck up here. A little bit of toe brake to assist us with turning. There we go. Let's get past the random F-18 that's here. There we go. Head tracking on. That's useful. Should have had that again on. Random F-18. So obviously, not an aircraft I flew a lot, of course, with it being one of the Reno aircraft. I did a little bit of Reno stuff, but I didn't fly very much because I didn't really like how it handled. It felt wrong compared to T6s we've had in the older sims. Whereas now, we've got a much more realistic T6 Texan, which is honestly makes for a fun aircraft. It's a warbird, they're vintage, and there's actually a really reasonable chance of flying a real one because there are quite a few around. This ground handling logic and behaviour is very realistic. I do like this. Actually feels like I'm operating this aircraft. A lot more toe brake needed for proper turning. So right, let's get ready to rock and roll here. So advancing the throttle. Prop to full fine. Let's get the nose down here as soon as we pick up some speed. Keep us straight on the runway. There we go. Let her climb up and away. Now this is a plane. And gear up here. Fly back over the airfield and see her before we head south. Ooh, she's tight turning. Oh, let's get her trimmed down a little bit. Bring the nose under control. She's very responsive. Loved it a roll. with the canopy open. And that's now a Learjet for some reason, go figure. Okay, let's get ourselves on course, shall we? Heading due south here. There we go, canopy's closed and nice and secure. So now we're heading south. I'll pull up the tablet and show you where we're heading. So we're heading down south here to a little spot that just looked like it'd be fun. Nothing particularly special about it, but this is GA25. It's Fargo, Georgia. No real reason for doing it other than it seemed like a good idea. And I figured you guys would enjoy a nice flight. We're going to talk about the Texan, and we'll talk about its contributions in the war, of course. And we'll just do some flight sim chatter. As always, whilst we fly. No autopilot in this, we're going to do this thing the old school way. So you get to see some nice Georgia scenery as we fly. Put this down and away. So the Texan itself, of course, is a single-engine advanced trainer aircraft which was used to train pilots for the US Army Air Forces, the US Air Force, the US Navy, the Royal Air Force, Royal Canadian Air Force, and many other Commonwealth Air Forces around the world. Designed by North American Aviation, that is. It's had different designations, of course. AT6 for the US Army Air Force and Air Corps, SNJ for the Navy. We called it the Harvard in the Commonwealth Air Forces. And starting in 1948, of course, it was the new US Army Air Force as the T6, and with the Navy in 62. So 15,400 of these were built during the war, which is actually insane. 15,000 of these things. Let's pull our power back here, actually, because we're using quite a bit of boom juice right now. See what my checklists tell me for after start, run up and take off, okay, climb and cruise. Mixture lean if desired, so we're going to knock it off a little bit just to get it smoother out. So cruise, we're looking for power-wise, we're looking for 28 inches on the manifold. So about 28 inches there. 20 to 28 inches, which means we're at 25 we'll go for a gentle run. No, 28, let's go fast. And prop should be between 1700 and 1850 RPM. That seems about right. Oh, that burble is lovely. That is lovely. Now, considering this is a stock-free aircraft and this is a free mod, absolutely no reason why you should not get it and add this in, because it makes the Texan a wonderfully flyable aeroplane. And a joy to experience, especially the cockpit sounds. This is really, really nice. Really, really nice. Absolutely love this. But more about Texan. I should have carried on with that. So the Texan herself. Make sure I'm actually en route here. Because I am blind as a proverbial batter. We're wavering wildly, of course. This happens when I'm reading and flying at the same time. But the original prototype was the NA-16 by North American, which it looks a lot like the Texan, but it had a much smaller engine on it. Yeah, so that's what its origin story really was. And you see a lot of these at air shows, demonstration flights, of course. And it did actually was used to simulate a lot of historic aircraft, including the Zero in multiple films. So in terms of pop culture, we saw them in quite a lot of things. They've done so many cool things, of course, for shows. But we've had Harvards converted to look more like Zeros specifically. So we've had the single cockpit canopy conversions on them. Obviously, they're from the sim here with the Reno pack. They're used at Reno air races. So you'll see a lot of those flying today. In terms of movies, they've played Zeros in A Yank in the RAF, Tora Tora Tora, Bar Bar Black Sheep, The Final Countdown. Yes, the Zeros in Final Countdown, splashed by the F-14s, were T6s. They were in A Bridge Too Far, and it represented a P-47 Razorback, the Thunderbolt, and including the Dutch film Soldat van Oranje, representing pre-World War II Dutch fighters, the Fokker D-21. Yes, that one, in case you're familiar with that. So the New Zealand Warbirds Roaring 40s aerobatics team uses them as well now, so that's a cool one. But yeah, no, it's an incredible aircraft. It's so much work. In terms of specs, though, a G model is powered by a Pratt & Whitney R1340 Wasp radial, 600 horsepower engine. She can cruise at about 126 knots, a range of 630 nautical miles. So pretty potent aeroplane. Now that 1340 engine, of course, has been used in multiple aircraft, including the Boeing 247, quite an old one there. Curtiss Seagull, they got used in the CAC Wirraway in the series, the Australian aircraft. The Curtiss Hawk, the de Havilland Canada Otter had them, yeah, the DHC-3. Douglas Dolphins, the Ford Trimotor, the GB Air Racers, the Grumman Mallard, yeah, the Mallard. We had them in a bunch of different seaplanes, a couple of Howard aircraft. The Junkers W-34 had them as well as the 52 in some variations, yes. Some ones were equipped with American engines. We've had them in the Norseman, the Texan obviously, the Scottish Aviation Twin Pioneer, the Vought O2U Corsair, and the Western Whirlwind Helicopter. So yeah, a very, very versatile airplane engine there, which I'm sure you cared about all those various features. I jabber and waffle and don't shut up sometimes, but there you go. You get what you get when it comes to me. I need to get my heading right here and I'll stay on course. So we're going to turn ourselves straight here and work out what we're doing now. As you know, autopilot, no GPS. It's a Warbird and it's equipped like one in the cockpit. Obviously, the versions we have in 24 is just this one. I know there were some other variations in 2020 with the Reno pack. So, would have been cool to have that. I'm not sure where the switches are, by the way, for the spinner and gear doors. I know they're meant to be in here. But where they are and what they do, I'm not entirely sure. All these ones here don't actually click anything. And the manual is more of just a checklist. It's more of inspiration. Let's get ourselves on target. We're about right here. So we want to maintain... Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, there we go. We're looking for 190 is our general kind of guide. Nope, we don't want 190. We want to back a little bit more this way. Yeah, 190, 120. That's easy enough to manage. We'll try that one. So George is pretty flat down here. Unfortunately, it does make things a little bit less dramatic for us. But it's quite a pretty place to fly. Big open land and scenery. I haven't done much flying in Georgia, so I figured I'd come down here just to keep you guys entertained with something different. But of course, this is a fine history of aircraft that didn't actually serve in World War II, playing aircraft from World War II. Now, a notable one is the Messerschmitt 108 Typhoon, that played 109s. Now they did, yes, the 108s did see some service at the end of the war, but it wasn't really very intended. But they did in fact serve towards the end of the Second World War. But they've most commonly played 109s in World War II films. Now, another one of the same type would be things like the Casa 111, and there was another version of the 109 licensed built in Spain as well. So the Spanish license-built models, which I believe were the Hispano Aviación HA1112s. Yeah, those played 109s as well. So the Casa 111s and the HA1112s and the 1109s, of course, both played wartime. In fact, a lot of the ones still flying today are actually the Spanish license-built copies or Czech-built copies. That's a big tower down there. So yes, there's a fine history of license-built post-World War II aircraft flying as World War II aircraft, even when they didn't actually do it. And when it comes to DC-3s, there's a fine history of DC-3s going to war, C-47s going back into civilian service afterwards. So there's all sorts of uppity daisies and flip-flops. If you can think of any other aircraft that actually did do movie service as World War II aircraft but aren't actually World War II aircraft, put it down in the comments. I'm sure I'd be very keen to find out. Are we still on course, or am I once again wavering dramatically off target? I'm wavering dramatically off target. There we go, that should keep us about right. So the sounds of this are really lovely. The vibrations in it and the general kind of behaviour of the aircraft is phenomenal. It adds so much more experience to this plane compared to what I've had from it before. And it really makes it a keeper for my flight sim library. I love an aircraft with spirit and personality. This is why I love the Duckworth mod for the DC-3. It's because it gives us all that vibrancy. It gives us so much experience of the aircraft. And I think this is why this is going to be the Duckworth for the T6. So hopefully some people will put out some T6 liveries, of course, for the 2024 version, because I'm pretty sure we only have 2020 variants on Flight Sim TO. And I don't know if they work. I should test them. Push our nose down a smidgen here. Okay, so we're looking at the cloud that has a middle finger up is our target. I think we're still good here. Yeah, mostly not. Shouldn't be using clouds as references, but there you go. What's that there? Ware County. In fact, if that's what I think that is, Waycross, Ware County, I think we might have an alternate destination, because the place we're going to isn't of any real importance. Because this place reminds me of something. In fact, we're going to head there, in fact. It'll be far more interesting for us. And why fly in a long straight line? So it's, yeah, Waycross Ware County Airport, which is Kilo Alpha Yankee Sierra. In 1930, established the airport 3 miles northwest of the city. An airport guide described it as a sod airfield, roughly half a mile square, with a hangar, no servicing, and operated by the Department of Commerce. Of course, it's not what it is now. In 1941, it had 2 asphalt runways installed, and yeah, with World War II, the US Army Air Forces took an interest in the site. An agreement was reached to lease for a fee of $1 a year. Now, what did it do? The Army lengthened the runways to 5,000 feet, added a 3rd runway. Okay, we've got some history here. Ah! So what did the airport do? Four tactical squadrons and 3 squadrons of service troops plus mobilization type hospital. The Army enlarged the area and did what else? What did they do here? Anything? What was kept here? History, World War II. Army is a sub-base of Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia. Fair enough. That's not it right here. The 85th Bombardment Group dive bombing was based there, of course, which is the Vultee A-31 Vengeance dive bombers, which were repossessed from British contracts, you swines. And later we were equipped with A-24 Dauntless bombers. Interesting. So yeah, it was a dive bomber base, and we had A-36 Mustangs there too, later on in 1942. And they temporarily went off to Bragg. And P-40 Warhawks, and then Mustangs later on. So she had a few different aircraft. Now, we had, of course, the usual transports, C-45s, 47s there, plenty of other aircraft operating around. But so this airfield did actually see some service during World War II. So it definitely feels appropriate to take the T6 here. I know it's not my intended destination, but flying for another 20 minutes across open, flat Georgia country seemed like a good idea at the time, and now seems like far less of one. Let me find this. Okay, so it's just off our nose there. In fact, that's it right there. I see her right off my nose. So we'll get here, we'll give her a bit of a spin, and we'll see what she can do whilst we're over the field. And then we'll bring her in for landing at what could well have been a field you might have seen a T6 or 2 operate from. That'll be Waycross over there, to our right. And there's the field down there with 3 5,000-foot runways. Yeah, see, when I saw this on the map, and I saw 3 runways in a triangle, that was a super common design used by US Army Air Corps airfields during wartime. So, It made me think this could well be an ex-army field. Not being too far from a few of the big bases around here. It does make a lot of sense. But I will say, despite being flat out here, it's a very pretty country. Farm fields, woodland. That's about it. But it's nice to see other parts of America. Parts I haven't really seen before. Got a train marshalling yard down there. Okay, there's the field. So let's have a little bit of fun here. I don't have scenery for this, but I don't think we need that, do we? Let's pull some power in here. Take us up. Put the nose down. Now that looks like a prison to me. Ooh, over the top. In absolutely no concern whatsoever for doing that. Does not care. Even one slight bit. Yeah, that's definitely a prison down there. Oh yeah. Perimeter track and everything? Yeah, prison. Oh, that sounds nice. Okay, we'll turn around and we'll go back and we'll mow the lawn a little bit, shall we? Woo-hoo. This might be my downfall here, so just be careful. I'm not sure how well these are good at flying upside down, but apparently quite well. Trying to maintain my heading upside down is quite hard. The world's weird this way. Woohoo! Right, let's bring it around and put it down. Okay, that'll do nicely. Prop full fine, everything is looking good here. Let's make sure we check our checklists for us right now. So, we've got our landing checklist. Is going to be carb air too hot. Is that the right way around? That's the right way around. Fuel set to on, landing gear 2 down. Flaps as desired. Now, did my flaps actuate with that? Yes, they're actuating now. Oh, I actually have to hold the damn things out. There we go. And that gives us our Texan flaps there. But let's pop this open, shall we? Can't land with the lid open, can with the lid closed, can you? Do that curved World War II pattern here, where we bring it round to final in a curve. It helps improve visibility, of course, over the big nose. Probably should have gone out a little bit further than this, but this will do just nicely. There's our touchdown spot right there. Okay, no problem. Hold it here. That's a little touch there. There we go. Oh, don't escape from me. The tail drag has never fully landed until you're in the bar and it's in the hangar. Nice. Where are we heading? There'll be a turn off up here on our left. Pull them flaps up, shall we? Yeah, this thing wants to make a bid for freedom whenever I'm not paying attention to it. So we'll give it a little bit of toe brake there. If you don't actually have brakes, you might need that because it's, I believe, a castered tail wheel. So you don't get a lot from the rudder apart from the authority you get over the air. That's an exit, but it's not. Okay. So it's actually meant to be a taxiway. It counts. There we go. It's meant to be a taxiway. It tried really hard. I will say, this is a fantastic mod. I absolutely adore this. This has made the Texan aircraft I'm going to be looking forward to flying again. And that is nice to add a permanent aircraft to my hangar of choice there. Boom. Okay. Parking brake on. Everything shut off. Max battery power. And we can hop out of the cockpit. I have to say, I feel a little bit tired from that. That feels like flying a warbird. That was a really visceral, fun experience. It's loud, it's rattly, it's vibrating, it's noisy. I can almost smell the oil. Mwah. Love it. Great work. And that's the T6 Texan improvement mod by Randall Snow. I'll put a link downstairs in the description for you. Go grab it. Go fly some Texan. Go have some fun. Yeah, that was fun. Bye.